So initially I came into my game room tonight with the intention to start up a fresh playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. It's a game that I've never played. It's been out for over a year now, and I said now's the time to play it. But instead of playing the game, I wanted to talk about what video games mean to me. And maybe they mean the same to you. So I'll start way back when. I was about 5 years old and I was just kind of introduced to Nintendo. My brother, who was 9 years older than me, was the cool guy, was always doing these like fun things, and he was 14, he was in high school. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And he had the Nintendo. So I was like, I want to play that. Like, what is that? Tell me what it is. I want to do it. I want to use it. Give me the controller. Give me this. Give me that. And, he'd usually fight me and wouldn't let me play. But all of a sudden one day, and I remember specifically, he let me play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I had no idea what was going on. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever that I was there with my brother playing a video game, something that he didn't want me to touch. But he made it so important to me, made me feel so special to let me actually play that game. And that was the first time that video games even came into my mind. My parents probably weren't happy with it, but what are you going to do? It was fun. It was something cool. So it's all about memories. It's about passion. It's about fun. It's about sharing things with those that you love, with those people that you love. And I think that's where nostalgia comes from. It comes deep rooted within our mind and our soul from experiences that we had when we were young. Something that was impactful, something that made a difference. And for me, that was the moment that I started to enjoy video games. So let's fast forward past Nintendo. There was actually an Atari at the house too, but I never played that because that wouldn't really be my speed. It was like a joystick and I didn't know what was going on, and it was all about tanks and stuff like that. So let's fast forward. We'll skip some of the consoles, but the next one that I remember specifically is Nintendo 64. So Nintendo 64 holds a special place in my heart, just like a lot of things do, and a lot of the consoles and generations of consoles do. But there's always a memory attached to it. So Nintendo 64 for me, I think there were two things. One was, I forget what wrestling game, but it was, I don't know what it was. What wrestling game was it? But anyways, we used to go over to my friend's house, and it'd be like four of us. And anytime we booted up that specific wrestling game, we had that one friend that was all about the creative character. When it was his turn to play, he's in there fiddling around with the creative character, changing all the customization options, making the guy look like this, the top look like this, his pants, his boots, his entry music, tattoos, all that stuff in a Nintendo 64 game. Took him over an hour. Seemed like 3 days to us. And that like stuck in my mind. And we were, pissed off at the time, being probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 years old, something like that. And we were like, this kid's a dick. He is only doing the custom creation stuff. And what's wrong with this kid? I just want to play and wrestle and play this game. It's my only time to play. I come to this house to play the game. But looking back on it, create a character and character customization has come so far from those early days. And if you can spend an hour on something way back then, and that was important to you, then that's pretty cool if you think about it, because nowadays it would take that kid 3 weeks. Anyways, I hope I see him soon. Mike, if you're watching, I remember you. And then there was GoldenEye. So GoldenEye, just a classic, right? It's a game that just checked all the boxes for way back when. You had the golden gun, you had all these cool features. And who the hell wouldn't want to be James Bond? Who wouldn't want to be 007? In that game, for me specifically, another memory is going over another friend's house. And we would just stay up for all hours of the night. We'd have sleepovers, be, probably 6 to 8 people there. And we would just stay up all night and just play GoldenEye. Go through story missions, go through, different things. The local, not multiplayer, but kind of the local co-op type of deal where you're shooting each other. And that was just a cool memory. It's a Nintendo 64. And games bring out the best of us sometimes. Nowadays, if you're talking about video games, and I'm sorry if this is all over the place, but this is just like, unscripted, just kind of like rolling off my tongue here. Nowadays, when people say, why do you play video games? You have to sit and think. It's really hard to answer. And a lot of people say to escape your reality, to escape life, to basically remove yourself from the world that you're in and come to this different realm. And I also agree with that. I also think that that's true. And there's nothing wrong with that. But way back when consoles were the only things out and PCs weren't a thing, and you had to blow into the cartridge because it collected dust just to get it to work, and the game was sold as a full game, whatever was in that cartridge was the game that you played. No DLC, no downloading stuff, nothing. All you had were those moments, those missions, the games that probably took 4 hours and you thought they were 100-hour games. They were just the sole experience that you had, and you were making memories. That was the most important part of what was happening. So let's fast forward to PlayStation 2. So the PlayStation 2 was obviously this massive release, just like most generation of consoles were. And it was one of the most difficult consoles to get, especially with Y2K and everything happening back in the early 2000s. And I asked for it for Christmas. I, asked my parents, I'm like, hey, I need a PlayStation 2. I really want one. Everybody's getting one. This would be so cool. So I wake up Christmas morning and it's not there. And I remember my mom, who is no longer with us, but she said, no, we tried, honey. I'm sorry we couldn't get it, but we'll get it for you when it does become available. And I was like, disappointed, but it is what it is. It is what it is at that point. Just couldn't get it. So the spring came around, and they finally got me a PlayStation 2. And it was just the most amazing moment, because I think Madden 2001 was like one of the launch titles, maybe. I remember playing that over a friend's house, and the fact that I could play that game, I think it was like in the spring of the following year, it was just so magical, and I was just so happy, truly, truly happy. And it was because of my parents. And that, to me, now looking back, seems like a silly thing, but it's like such an important moment. And there's a lot of moments in life, and not everything's revolve around video games, but video games do bring us joy. And they bring us joy when you hear nostalgia. You're talking about memories that were made years ago. Or even in present moment, you're making memories. You're constantly making these memories. You're constantly rolling those into what you're doing in video games and with real life. The other thing that video games bring to me, and maybe this resonates with you, it brings a sense of peace. So if I'm able to remove myself from a hectic life and hectic world, which all of us have different variations of that, stresses and all this stuff, if I can just sit back and play a game, even if it's for half an hour, that to me brings me peace. It has the chance to level set. It also, in my personal opinion, provides a lot of us with the opportunity to overcome difficulties and obstacles that are in our way, and use the same sort of approach and strategy to attack issues in real life. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, in a video game, as silly as this may sound, let's just take Elden Ring, which is a newer game, newer example, might make a lot more sense. The Tree Sentinel is a boss that's thrown at you at the very beginning of the game. Clearly, FromSoft put this boss in the game for you to be trolled, first and foremost, and secondly, to try the boss and then come back later when you're strong to fight it and overcome that sense of wonder, excitement, and fear, because it's this formidable foe. I mean, I'll get him. I get him. I will. So you fight him a few times, you can't figure it out, you're just too weak. So you play through the game, and you get stronger, you get faster, you get smarter. And you come back later, and you wipe the floor with that boss. Did you give up? No. You said, right now I can't handle this situation or this problem. Let me go think about it. Let me figure out what is the next best move. And I will come back, and I will crush it. I will defeat the obstacle that's in my way, and I will become successful, and I will come out on top. Video games can be applied to real life. It's that simple. Video games bring me a sense of community. The social aspect of video gaming is unlike anything that I've ever experienced. It's a tough one, and I pause because there's a lot to that. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot to speak about. I was mainly a solo player forever. I took a few years off, actually many years off from gaming, just because of life and different things that happened. COVID hit, I came back fast and furious. No pun intended for the movie. A lot of those movies too. Came back ready to take on video games. And I came back when it was the PS5's time to shine. And the Xbox Series X. I know people are disappointed with those, but the PS5, I have a lot of great memories of the PS5. I got the PS5 a year after launch because it was so hard to get with COVID and all the components and all the parts that you couldn't get from overseas. I remember ordering the PS5 from Walmart Plus. I paid for Walmart Plus just to have an opportunity to put my name in to get selected to then go online to try to buy it against all these other people. I did that. The day that it was shipped, I waited by the window like a fool for 10 hours. At least I was pacing back and forth, doing the different things in my house, looking at my phone, watching the tracking, plus a lot of them getting stolen back then. And when it finally arrived, and it was late, it said it was delivered, and then it was actually late. It was such an amazing experience opening that console. Plugging it in, the beat for the first time, and then I fired up God of War 2018. It's not even a PS5 game. I remember seeing Kratos for the first time on my OLED from a PlayStation 5 coming from, what did I play before? I think it was PlayStation 4, but years ago, like maybe 2015. And then there was a gap, and then it was 2021, so 6 years. It might have been 2014, but anyways. Seeing Kratos' face on the screen was just unbelievable. How can a game look this good? How impressive I can't even speak, but how impressive of a game is this? And not only just a game, but I get to experience this. And that's one game of so many that I haven't played yet. You want to talk about backlog? I couldn't even begin to tell you what was on that at the time. It's every game that's existed for how many years? The last game I think I played was Destiny 1 way back when. It's unbelievable. Not Destiny 2. Sorry, Bungie. So yeah, PlayStation 5 for me holds a really, really special place in my heart. I actually have two of them now. That makes no sense, but to me it does. So where gaming has come since the Atari days, which I can't really speak to except for the tank game, but since the Nintendo games, it has come so far. Yes, we sit here and we complain about developers and, the prices of everything and games aren't being complete and DLC, this and that. I get it, and I don't disagree. Social media has allowed for all of these outlets for people to just talk about whatever they want, and that's fine. That's the world we live in today. But back in 1988, 89, back when I first played a Nintendo, all I knew was the experience of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, and I thought it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. the absolute best thing I've ever seen, and that was because of my brother. Now, fast forward to 2024, I absolutely love gaming. It has made such an impact on my life, not only when I was little and through my teenage years, but now, at almost 40 years old, it is the most relevant and beautiful thing. And the fact that I can get on here in front of a camera, and talk to you about what video games mean to me is the most special thing that I can ever ask for. And that's really all because of you. I appreciate every single one of you. I would like to hear your feedback and your thoughts. What do video games mean to you? What does sitting down, whether you're being at a PC or a console with a controller in your hand, or the mouse and keyboard, which I have yet to figure out. What emotions does that bring out? How does that make you feel? Think about it. Think about when you first started video games. What game was that? What was that like? Bring it to the present moment. Think about it. I really appreciate you listening. I just wanted to share what gaming means to me. There's more I could say, but as of this moment, I feel like that's enough for right now. So I appreciate you being here, spending the time to watch this 15-minute video. But in the end of the day, just lead with love and enjoy playing the games that you love. See you next time.